Hello, and welcome to episode number 14 of the Rabe Creations podcast. My name's Nicole, and I'm coming to you from Calgary, Alberta, here in Canada, where I live with my husband Barry, my son Riley, and my wonderful, beautiful rescued Rottweiler named Grace. All right, I'd like to start out by saying welcome back to all of my returning viewers. It is great to spend some crafty time with you. And to any new viewers, welcome. I'm glad you've decided to come and check us out, and I hope you enjoy what you see here and hit that subscribe button and become a part of our little family. All right, I have lots to share with you today. First off, I'm going to apologize ahead of time. There could be some oddness to the lighting today, sort of with it getting brighter and darker and brighter and darker. It is fairly overcast. We have some storms blowing through. So yeah, we'll just have to go with what Mother Nature throws at us. So for the podcast itself, I have lots to share with you. I've got finished projects. I've got projects on the go. I've got some fabulous new additions to my stash to show you. I was at the Prairie Fiber Festival on the weekend and met some amazing people and bought some amazing things, and I will show you those. What else? A book recommendation as always. So lots and lots and lots to share with you today. Oh, and can't forget the Halloween update. Our Halloween along is in full swing with all kinds of yarny goodness happening, so make sure to update you on that a little bit later on as well. All right, so let's get into some yarny goodness, shall we? All right, so let's start today's finished projects with what I'm wearing. Those of you who have watched the podcast previously may recognize this project that just came off the blocking mats before I sat down to chat with you today. So there are two ends that still need to be sewn in, but other than that, it's a finished project, so I am going to share it with you today. It is the shawl that I have made for my son's upcoming wedding in 2 weeks, people. 2 weeks. It is made with Shipia's Whirl yarn, so it is a cotton blend yarn. It is in the Watermelon Hellraiser colorway. I've talked about it quite a bit in previous episodes, but as a final verdict on the yarn, I love it. I love it. It did take a few minutes to get used to, just with it being that little bit more splitty than some other yarns that I've worked with. But overall, it was easy to work with, and I absolutely am in love with the construction of this yarn and how they work their gradients. Now, I went into it in depth in another episode, but the fact that they change out one thread at a time to change the gradient color just blows my mind. It creates such an interesting look. So I'm going to take it off and I'm going to show it to you. At the wedding, I'll be wearing it traditionally over my shoulders as a shawl, but I actually really like how it works as a scarf too. So let me take it off and I will show you. I'm also going to be putting some pictures at the end of this video to show you a little bit better the details. So here it is. Now, I had started out following a pattern, but I went rogue and I abandoned it completely. It was starting to get really full, we'll call it. So it was getting too much bulk and not enough length. Now, I did have to block this quite harshly, and it did stand up to blocking very well. I really like how it blocked out. Opened up very nicely. So I think I followed the pattern I had been following to about the beginning of the grays, and then I kind of went rogue and just did it myself with my own stitch counts and whatnot. It just wasn't working out. Now, nothing wrong with the pattern, I don't think. I was totally using a different type of yarn and everything else from what the pattern called for. So, you know, sometimes when you play with patterns like that, it doesn't work out, and this yarn was not the best yarn for that pattern. Oh, look, see, there's one of my strings to to weave in. So the edging on the pattern had very large scallop, lacy scallops worked into it. And as I went along, I decided that, you know what, I really wanted the gradient of this yarn to speak for itself. I didn't want to take away from that gradient. So what I ended up doing instead was just in the last 6 rows, I inserted a row of shell stitches in between the 2 pattern stitches, which is a spaced double crochet and then a non-spaced double crochet. That creates the lacy effect. And then at the edge, I went along the entire edge of the shawl and put in a picot edging along the edge of the shawl. And I think it finished it off very nicely without taking away, as I said, from the yarn. I want the yarn to speak for itself. So I am completely thrilled with how this turned out. The shirt I'm wearing, of course, is a little casual to be wearing it as a traditional shawl, but yeah, it's just right. And as I said, I'll insert some pictures at the end to show it more in use, so that you can see it a little bit better from behind and whatnot. But yeah, that's it, and I am so pleased. So pleased. All right, so the next finished project I've got goes along with the wedding theme, as a lot of things are going to over the next little while, because we're running out of time. 2 weeks. 2 weeks, people. And it is the blanket. Now, I talked about this blanket numerous podcasts ago. I didn't want to keep going over and over it, because really it's made up of 52 granny squares. So the yarn that I used is Caron Simply Soft in a number of different colors. There's a dark blue, there's a light blue, there's a pink, there's a burgundy, and there's a purple. I will list all of the colors in show notes. And then there's the bone color as well. So the bone sort of ties it all together. It is very much a random placed pattern, which I love. I really like how it's turned out. The pattern is the, see, my memory's good, but it's short. Let me refer to my notes here. So the pattern is the Shaded Motifs Crochet Blanket, and it is a free pattern from Yarnspirations. I did not find any significant problems with the pattern at all. It's well written, easy to understand. Can check my Ravelry notes for the one slight modification I made to make the center just a little bit tighter. But other than that, I followed it completely, with the exception of the border. The border in the pattern just calls for a round of reverse single crochet or crab stitch. I didn't think that was quite thick enough, so I did a round of normal double or single crochet and then a row of reverse single crochet, so that crab stitch. I hope I said reverse single crochet the first time and not double crochet, because it's not double crochet, it's single crochet. But I'm going to hold this up. There is no way I'm going to be able to show you the entire thing on camera. So again, please watch right to the end of the video, and I will insert pictures of everything I talk about today. There is going to be a lot of pictures at the end. So I'm going to hold it up as best I can and show you the blanket. So it is quite big. As I said, there's 56 squares to the blanket. It's heavy. So let me show you here. So this is the top corner in the pink, and then we go along, and we go along. Let's see if I can hold it right in front of myself. So it is, let me see, I am about 5'2", it's on the ground. I'd say it's almost 6 feet, almost 6 feet in length. But isn't that pretty? I am really, really, really pleased with how this has turned out. Yeah. So that is the blanket that I have made for my son and daughter-in-law for their wedding, which will be in 2 weeks. I know I've said that a lot, but that's because the wedding's in 2 weeks, people. 2 weeks. All right, so those are my 2 finished projects to show with you this week. Not nearly as many finished projects as I've shown in the past. However, I've had to be fairly monogamous to get these done. I was planning to do the blanket, the shawl, and my dress for the wedding. I have now completed the blanket and the shawl. The dress is in the works, so things are on track for being completed. Alrighty, so that's it for this segment. Let's move on to current projects. Alright, some current projects. And again, I don't have as many current projects, things that I am actively working on, than I have had in the past, but that's because the wedding is coming and I've had to be very monogamous. So, to start out, let me show you a little amigurumi that I'm doing. So I did introduce this amigurumi in my mini Halloween along episode. If you haven't seen that, take a look. It was kind of fun to put together. The amigurumi in question, his name is Crocs the Crow. Now this is a paid-for pattern that I found on Ravelry, and it is by Yuki Yarn Designs. It is, the skill level it says is intermediate, and now that I'm sort of getting onto the feet, that's the only place so far that I've seen where it really does need that intermediate designation. It is very tight through the feet and legs. Now this pattern does have an option where you can put pipe cleaners in the legs to allow them to be posable. I don't think I'm going to do that. This will be a item that I put up for sale in some upcoming craft shows that I will be doing. And the safety eyes to me are enough of a hazard. I don't want the possibility of wires poking out of the legs if a child is playing with this. So yeah, safety eyes make it for 3-year-olds and above to begin with. So I think I'm going to leave it at that and let the legs be just legs. But let me show you where I've gotten to so far. Now I did have to purchase safety eyes for this, and who'd have thought that safety eyes were so difficult to find? They didn't have them at my local Michael's. They didn't have them at my local fabric store. Now my fabric store does carry some yarn. It is Fabricland, so they carry some yarns. They carry a lot of making accessories like that, but no safety eyes. My husband actually ended up looking on Amazon for me, thank you very, and found some, a package. I think there's 125 or 136 pieces or something in this pack. So it's got a couple of different sizes of the safety eyes, some in just all black and some sort of with the colored iris and then the clear around the outside. And it's the first time, I'll be honest, that I've used safety eyes. I normally embroider all of my eyes on, but I figured, you know what, let's try it and see what happens. And so far, I think I like them. So this is where I've gotten so far with Crocs the Crow. So this is his head, his beak, his eyes. There they are. There are the safety eyes. There's a little bit of shaping done to the head with wool afterwards, which was kind of neat, not something I've done before in amigurumi. And then here is his body. So his head will sort of attach to his body, like so. And so far I've gotten one toe. Not even an entire leg, just one toe. I actually only started Crocs last night. So I think overall he's coming along quite well. And as I said, so far, no reason for it to have an intermediate designation, although the toe, the first toe that I did, was fairly tight crochet, so perhaps that's where that designation is coming from. So that's Crocs the Crow. Stay tuned. He will also be a major part of the Halloween along, and we'll talk about that in a bit. So beside Crocs the Crow, oh, and I should mention that I am making Crocs completely out of loops and threads impeccable yarn. Loops and Threads is a Michael's brand. And it is my go-to acrylic yarn. I really, really enjoy it. It's a little bit softer than some of the other 100% acrylics out there, yet still has enough structure for amigurumi. I find if you try and use yarn that is too soft for amigurumi, it doesn't hold its shape as well. So I'm kind of I think I have found a good balance between softness and rigidity that works very well for me and amigurumi. So the next thing I'm going to share with you is my dress. So now that the shawl is completed, I did find fabric that matches the shawl amazingly well. So I was really excited. Let's start with the pattern. So the pattern that I chose is actually a Vogue Easy Options pattern. Now, I know as a mother of the groom, this is a very casual dress, but I'm a very casual person. I couldn't picture myself buying a matronly mother of the groom style dress, that traditional. It's just not me. If I'm going to invest the money in something, I want it to be something that I'm going to get more wear out of than one day. So I've decided to go with this view, the one that the model is wearing. Mine will be significantly bigger. But I like that sleeve length rather than the full sleeve. I prefer this shorter sleeve length. And I like the length of the skirt and the fullness of the skirt. So the different options you had was a longer sleeve, as well as a less full skirt. And I like this skirt style. I like the sleeve length. So that is it right there. The nice thing about this pattern as well is it's able to be customized for cup sizing. So it goes all the way up into a D cup size, which is fantastic. So many times having to hack patterns can get a little bit scary. So that's that. So that's easy. Vogue Easy Options, and the pattern number is V as in Victor 9202. Now for the fabric. Are you ready? So I ended up buying two parts of this fabric. I bought the first expanse and I decided to get some extra as just in case. I will probably end up with mounds and mounds of leftover, but that's okay. Better to have too much than not enough. So let me get this in a sort of way. This fabric came off the bolt, sort of folded in on itself. So I want to show you the good side of the fabric, the right side of the fabric. Now it does have a little bit of stretch in it, which is nice. Again, the dress is fitted in the up top, so it's nice to have that little bit of stretch. But there it is. So it is a flower print, as you can see. Black background with the peachy flowers and a little bit of green. Now, if I can somehow fandango my shawl over top, you will see how wonderfully, there we go, I'll completely hide, but you can see how wonderfully those two color patterns are going together, like it was made to be. So I was thrilled to find this fabric. It just matched the colors in the shawl perfectly. And I had already started working on the shawl, so I needed to find fabric that went with the shawl. So next episode, although it may be a little delayed because it falls in that same week as my son's wedding, but you never know. I have the 2 days after the wedding off, so I may be able to get one up right away and gush about how wonderful it was. I will take pictures of at the wedding. Of course, we'll have lots of pictures, so hopefully I can show you the dress and the shawl in action, as well as I will show you the finished dress in a future podcast once it's finished, obviously. So the only thing I still have to get for my outfit for the wedding are shoes. Now, I don't think I've ever talked about it on the podcast before, but I actually do wear a leg brace. I have a really bad knee. I had my first knee surgery when I was 15, and that has since failed. My femur is twisting. It's a horrible, horrible story. But I do wear a knee brace, which really limits the types of shoes I can wear. I can no longer wear heels of any sort. I must wear flats. So I was actually thinking of perhaps going to a dance store, so dance outfitting, and seeing if I can get a pair of true ballet flats that I can wear for the wedding, because they do have the leather soles on them, so it's not like they're going to be, you know, too thin. They're an actual shoe. But I think it may be the best thing for footwear for the wedding. So, wish me luck in attempting to find footwear. So I am sorry, but that is it for works in progress, for things that I am currently hooking on or stitching on. There should be more next time, as will be able to switch into full crafting gear from obligatory crafting for the wedding. Alrighty, so the next segment is going to be a little bit of a long segment. Prepare yourselves, because it is my new additions, so new additions to my stash, and I was at an amazing Fiber Festival on Saturday, so just a few days ago. I'm still buzzing in the afterglow. And I will be talking all about the Fiber Festival and all about my new acquisitions from the Fiber Festival coming up in the next segment. Alright, so on to the acquisitions portion of the podcast, my new additions. So as I said, I attended this past Saturday the Prairie Fiber Festival that was held in Lacombe, Alberta. So it was about a 2-hour drive from my house to the festival, so about 4 hours round trip. And it was really, really well attended. I was blown away by how many people had attended. I will insert some pictures again at the end of the podcast, where you can take a look at some of the pictures of the Fiber Festival. It was a lot of fun. There were some dyers there who I have previously purchased from and have previously talked about, and there were some who were new to me as well. There was wood people who were doing drop spindles and yarn bowls and the like. There was people doing ceramics, so again, yarn bowls out of ceramics, but buttons and beads and all kinds of ceramics that tied into our crafts. There were some weavers, there were spinners, there was fleece available, there was fiber available, there was wool available, and yarn and hand dyes, and oh, it was my people. It was our people. Our people were there. I went with my sister. She came along as my co-pilot. And although she is not a knitter or a crocheter, she does appreciate the crafts. So she did come along with me, and she commented that it was like being in a hall full of me. So yes, it was my people. My people were there. I was also kind of had some fangirl moments, because I was able to catch up with, I don't know if you guys are familiar with a podcast that comes out of Grande Prairie, Alberta. Quite a few people are familiar with it. It is called Cozy Up Knits, and it's with the Stitchin' Sisters. So let me see, Jamie and Sarah were there, and Chrissy was there, and Mom was there, so I had a little chat with them, which was kind of fun. Like I kept saying to the podcasters I was bumping into, you know, it's weird when you bump into people like that, because you feel like you know them from watching their podcasts episode after episode, yet they have really no idea who you are. So it's got that bit of a disconnect moment, but they were very gracious and allowed me to fangirl a little bit. And I also ran into the two wonderful ladies out of Airdrie who do the, sorry, I have to always look because I'm scared I'm going to get names wrong, the Feather Stitches podcast, and that's Heather and Becky, and they're out of Airdrie, and they were there as well, so I got to meet them and chat a little bit there, so yeah, it was kind of exciting. And are you ready, people? I think I've hit official podcaster status because I too was recognized. It was amazing. Kind of exciting, kind of odd, but a little bit fun too, to know that, you know, people are watching. And I know I see the subscriptions, and I know I see the comments, and I respond to the comments, but to have somebody in real life recognize me for this was amazing. And as you can tell from the grin on my face, it made my day. So yeah, if you ever are out and about and you see me and you say hello, don't worry about it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So, you know, there's another Fiber Festival coming up in October, I believe. The Fiber Shindig, I think there's one coming up in October right here in Calgary. So hopefully my work schedule works out and I'll be able to go that one too and meet more people. But let's get on to the goodness, the acquisitions. I'm going to be referring back to my notes quite a bit because I did try and do some research on the individuals who I purchased from to try and share some love of them. If you miss anything, or if I abandon this whole idea and just go to talking about the product, I will include in the show notes all of that information. So let's get to it, shall we? So this large bag you see beside me, my market bag, that's full to the top with the things that I purchased. So I'm just going to pull it out, and as it comes out is how I'm going to talk about it. So starting out with one of my intended purchases from the festival, and that is a drop spindle. So I do not have room in my house for a spinning wheel. And that would be a really large investment to just try something. So I have been watching on YouTube videos, of course, and found some references to drop spindles. And there was a woodworker at the festival who was selling drop spindles. The company name is Danware Artistic Wood Turning. They're out of Black Diamond, Alberta. So that was the other neat thing. All of the vendors were local to Alberta. Mind-blowing. So it was really neat to bring the community together. But so Danware Artistic Wood Turning out of Black Diamond. He does have an Etsy shop, so make sure you go check him out. And that is who created the drop spindle. I did not start using the drop spindle yet because I was waiting to show everything before I dove into some of my purchases. So there it is, a drop spindle. So I will be able to do some hand spun. How exciting is that? Now, Nicole, you may say, what are you going to hand spun? Well, let me show you. Or what are you going to hand spin? Let me show you, because I've also picked up some fiber to spin. So the first one I will share with you. Oh my goodness, it came out of its bag. Oh no, it's escaping. Is from Doodlebug Fiber Emporium. Now, their website, and I did have a brief chat with the gentleman who was manning the booth. Their website just cites them as being from Central Alberta. So I'm not sure if there is a specific area that they're all from, because it seems to be a bit of a collective. But they do have a web page, and I will link that below. And from their spelling of Doodlebug, I am almost going to suspect that they might be from De Winton. I could be completely off with that, but I suspect they might be from De Winton, which is here in Alberta. So here it is. It is 100% merino. And the colorway of this fiber is called Summer Night Sky. So it's got some black in it, some dark blues, some lighter blues. It's just gorgeous. So yeah, I will be spinning. How exciting. So that is the first bunch of fiber. I don't even know what you call bunches of fiber, but the first bunch of fiber I bought. The second, I'll bring out the other fiber. Let me see. So the second bundle of fiber I got was from a lady who did some wonderful bags as well. Her name is Andreas Handspuns, and she does, I believe, have a shop on Etsy, so make sure you go check her out. She is from, I want to say Edmonton, but I could be wrong. Where is she? Edmonton, yes. So Edmonton is actually the capital of my province. She does have a shop on Etsy, yes. So I was correct about that. So this does not have a colorway other than the number 306, but I love it. It's reds, a little bit of purple in there, some oranges, so quite autumnal, but I also thought that it looked quite Christmassy. So it is a merino braid, so it is merino fiber. Yeah. I don't know what to say about this because I've never tried it before, but, you know, YouTube to the rescue, and I am going to watch some videos and try my hand and see what I can do for some handspun, but isn't that pretty? Great colors. And again, that's Andrea's Handspuns. Alrighty, so next I will just reach in and pull out a beautiful set of minis. Oh, I'm sorry for the crinkling, I forgot. So excited. So this is the Sturdy Sock Base from the Wool Baron. Now, I've talked about the Wool Baron before. She is a dyer out of Chestermere, which is really, really close to me. She also has an Etsy shop, so make sure you check her out. These didn't necessarily come with the colorways, and I hope it's not too glary with the sun now deciding to make yet another appearance, but yeah, so there's purples and blues and speckles and solids and just gorgeous, gorgeous colors in that mini skein set. So those are, each skein is 20 grams, about 92 yards, and it is a 75% superwash merino and a 25% nylon. So then, also from the Wool Baron, I picked up this beautiful, beautiful skein. Again, it is in the Sturdy Sock Base, so the 75-25 merino nylon. It is a 4-ply fingering weight. Has gorgeous, gorgeous teals and greens and browns, and oh, I fell in love with this colorway. I couldn't leave without it. And the colorway is called Haberdashery. And again, Wool Baron, she does have an Etsy shop. Go show her some love. She's amazing. And let's see, I'll reach in here. What's next? What's next? So this is Flock Fiber Studio. And this dyer is out of Calgary, and I'd never even heard of her before. So, you know, that's how big our community is actually growing. But, you know, I was happy to meet a new dyer, and I picked up this little sock kit. So it is her Take a Hike sock base, which is an 80-20 blend of superwash merino and nylon. The main skein, which is greens, oranges, blacks, grays, yeah, so many different colors. And it is called Pumpkin King. And the little mini that goes with it, the small orange mini, is in the Pumpkin Juice colorway. And it also came with a small pumpkin progress keeper. So quite happy with that. And again, that's Flock Fiber Studio. She did have an Etsy shop at one point, but has since gone independently with her own webpage. So that is Flock Fiber Studio. Google it, look it up. I will add a link below, actually, so you can just click on the link if you'd like to go see what she is producing. But gorgeous colorway, and I love this little sock set idea. Oh, but that's not all. I've been saving up for this one. This Fiber Festival. I did actually save up for it. Oh. Ah, yes. Polka Dot Creek. I talk a lot about Polka Dot Creek. This is one of my favorite local dyers. She is from Airdrie, which is very close to me. So I got her fall mini skein set. There are 5 different colors. So cranberry, spicy mustard, toffee, pumpkin, and avocado. So each of these are 20 grams, fingering weight. 75-25 superwash merino nylon, so a very typical sock blend, but beautiful, beautiful, beautiful mini skeins. Look at those colors and how well they go together. And as an added little bonus, when you purchased from Polka Dot Creek, they were handing out these little keyring charms. So it is actually a little tiny mini skein of yarn. Isn't that cute? I will be throwing this little tiny skein of yarn into the prize packs for the Halloween along, which I'm going to be talking about next, as well as at least some of these mini skeins. So, you know, stay tuned for more information on that. And one last, I believe, purchase. My goodness, I hope we're getting to the end. Yes, we are. So one last purchase that I made. This is going to be really hard to show you on camera. I will be taking pictures and inserting them at the end. So this is from a company called Hedgepig Pottery. They do have an Etsy page, I believe. Let me just double check here. Hedgepig, yes, Hedgepig Pottery CA is their Etsy shop, and this maker is out of Edmonton, and she is a ceramics person. She had beautiful ceramic jewelry. She had some great buttons, beautiful, beautiful buttons. But what caught my sister's eye, my sister actually picked up some little hedgehog beads. And she showed me, so of course I had to run right over and find some beads for myself, and I managed to find some. So I'm going to hold them up, but I know you're not going to be able to see them well. If you're interested, take a closer look in the photos at the end. So first off, I picked up 4 little pumpkin beads. So as I said, these are ceramic. Oh my goodness, things are falling. I apologize for the large bang. So they are ceramic. They have, you know, the hole through them. I think these will make excellent beads for toggles on sweaters, on hats. They're just gorgeous. I love these little beads. So I got 4 pumpkins. I got 4 little ladybugs. And you know, because they're handmade, they are all slightly different, and I love that. And then I picked up 2 of the little beehives. I would have gotten more of the beehives, but she only had 3. And I have to get even numbers or I'll go crazy. So I picked up 2 of them. And I'm going to be watching her Etsy page to see if I can't get more of these to potentially go quite nicely with the beehive honeycomb hat that I am currently designing. Shh, it's a secret. But yes, I'll insert some pictures of those because I'm sure you didn't get to see them well. But they are absolutely beautiful. Certainly, by all means, go and check out her Etsy shop. She has gorgeous, gorgeous work. Well, that's it. That's my haul. It was quite a bit, I admit, but it will all be put to super good use. And I'm excited now to start my adventures with my drop spindle and start my spinning. Who knows where that will take me. I love it how we sort of take off down these rabbit holes, and sometimes it changes the entire focus of what we do, but yeah, that's part of growing. Yeah, I'm just really excited to try it and see what happens. Now, it may be a complete epic utter fail. We never know, but I will keep you informed. Alrighty. So other than my safety eyes, that's all I have acquired. That's all I have acquired over the past couple of weeks. But yeah, we're not done yet, because the next segment is an update on our Halloween along. Alright, so after that epically long segment, I would like to take a few moments to just update everybody on the Halloween along that we're running. So, I have opened a couple of threads in Ravelry, and thank you to everybody who is already taking part. It is so exciting to see it sort of taking off. We've already got some finished projects in that thread. Now, in the finished projects thread, I do ask that only finished projects are put there. It makes it easier to choose winners. Yada, yada, yada. I know everybody says it, but, you know, they must be saying it for a reason, so I'll say it too. And there is a chatter thread, which has been very active to this point, so feel free to join in with some chatter and share some patterns and some Halloween fun. So as it stands, so far, I have already increased the number of prizes that are going to be given away to 3 from 2. Originally, I was going to do 1 prize out of the chatter thread and 1 prize out of the finished objects thread, but I've decided to add a 3rd prize into the mix. So the 2 prizes that I already have is, I showed this one in the launch video, and this is the skein of yarn from Ancient Arts Yarns. Calico Gone Wild is the colorway. It is a 100% superwash blue-faced Leicester wool, and it is a 4-ply fingering weight. So nice autumnal colors. I thought that was fairly appropriate for a Halloween along. This will be one of the prizes out of the finished objects thread. So this will be for one of the finished projects. The prize that I have put together for the chatter thread will consist of a mini of 75% merino, superwash merino, and 25% nylon. And the little stitch marker, or the keychain shaped charm. I apologize if you can hear some sirens in the background, but I do have the window open. So this is one of the minis out of the fall mini pack, and a little doodad in the shape of a little yarn skein, which I just think is so cute. So that will be the prize for the chatter thread. And I am currently sewing a project bag that I will be putting some yarn into, and that will be the grand prize. And the grand prize is going to be a My Choice prize. So it could be the person who has participated the most. It could be the person who has perhaps tackled the most the most new stitches. It could be just my favorite project. It really doesn't have any qualifiers except that it's my choice. My podcast, my Halloween along, my choice. I think it's fun to do one of those as well. So it doesn't really have a qualifier. There will be a reason I choose it. It won't just be I choose this one because I wanted to. There will be a reason behind it. So it may be somebody, I've got a couple of people already on the Ravelry threads who are joining from Belgium who they really don't celebrate Halloween. So they're getting involved even though they're not involved, and that's amazing. So, you know, you never know what the reason will be for the grand prize, but there will be one grand prize awarded as well. So, the rules are pretty simple, and they're all over there on the Halloween cow, or the Halloween along on Ravelry. So far, all of the finished projects that have been presented are all Amigurumi. There has been a plethora of black cats showing up in that thread. So go on over, take a look, see what your fellow crafters are coming up with a holiday, a Halloween holiday theme, and, you know, add to it, add to it. There's no risk in trying, there's no risk in entering, and it's so much fun to share. Now, if you are sharing a pattern, that is something that people can purchase or access through Ravelry, please make sure you're sharing those links so we can give those pattern developers a little bit of love as well. All right, so that is the quick update on the Halloween along. Come on over, take part, have some fun. It's a lot of fun over there. All right, so moving into the final segment of today's podcast, and that is, as always, a trip to my bookshelf. So let me reach over here to grab the book that I plan to talk to you about today. So this book is called Omens, and it is written by an author named Kelly Armstrong. I'd like to point out that this is a signed edition. Thank you, Kelly. I did get to meet her. She was in Calgary doing some book signings, so she did tour around and was signing stock in stores, and I got to meet her and have a bit of a fangirl moment because she is one of my favorite authors. She is Canadian, yay, and she has written a lot. She has written a series that you may or may not have heard of called Women of the Other World. It is a fantasy series with a supernatural twist. So people who tend to like to read young adult fiction will gravitate towards her fiction. It is not young adult. There are definitely adult themes, adult situations, we will call them, within her books, but that's sort of a fun magical element to her writing as well. So I do highly recommend her Women of the Other World series, and I may talk about that in a future podcast. But today I'd like to talk to you about Omens. Omens is the first book in the Canesville series that she has also written. And when I met Kelly, I told her that, you know, J.K. Rowling created in the Harry Potter universe the school that I should have attended as a child. And Kelly Armstrong, she's created the town in which I should live. So the interesting thing about this town is it's not terribly friendly to outsiders. The main character in this book, Olivia, she is the only daughter of a rather prominent Chicago family, and unfortunately she loses both her parents. She goes in search of her history and her past and starts to find out some pretty bizarre things. Like, mini spoiler alert, were her parents really her parents? And if they weren't, who were her parents? And why doesn't she know them? Why wasn't she with them? So the main character is in her early 20s. It is a bit of a story of self-discovery, but it definitely has the paranormal, supernatural twist to it. Now, Omens, as you can imagine, does speak a lot to the content of the book, which is a lot about omens, things that happen that certain people will tie significance to. One of the things that I believe was out of this book, I'm sure it was, an omen that I had not been aware of in the past, and now I think about it every single time I go to bed, is in this book. They tell us that when you go to sleep, your pillowcase should have the opening on the outside of the pillow so that bad dreams can flow out. Try to unforget that. Try to sleep with your pillowcase turned the other way. So, yeah, Kelly Armstrong, she's one of those authors who is able to really create atmosphere and really work with characters as well. As I said, adult situations, definitely not a young adult book. It is well into the adult genre, but will appeal to adults who do enjoy dabbling in young adult fiction. So that is Kelly Armstrong is the author. The book is Omens and is the beginning of her series called Canesville. Very, very, very highly recommended. All right. That brings us to the end of episode 14 of the Rabe Creations podcast. If you've stuck through it for the whole thing, I thank you. I thank you. Please make sure, if you enjoyed what you saw today, that you hit that like button. If this was your first time and you've stuck around this long, thank you. Please hit the subscribe button if you'd like to be kept updated on things going on mini updates for the Halloween along, as well as potentially more book recommendations on their own for the month of October. I'm thinking of doing a book recommendation a day for the month of October, which will all focus on scary books. All right, that's all I have for you today. As always, please feel free to connect with me across the social medias. I'm on Facebook as Rabe Creations. I'm on Instagram as Nicole_Rabe Creations. I would love for you to come visit my Etsy shop. I've noticed a couple of viewers of the podcast have dropped by and favored the shop. Thank you so much. Yes, I would love to connect with you on all the different social medias. All right. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I will see you in a couple of weeks with another episode. Bye now.